to a quad.
Let's be real. On the old WNBA front, this is the most relevant the league is going to be for the next couple of weeks. Because we can be honest, during a couple of weeks, Caitlin Clark is out injured. Doesn't matter what happens. Does not matter what happens. No one.
The WNBA is once again caught in the center of a brewing storm. But this time, it's not about questionable officiating or overly aggressive play. The real concern now is far more alarming. Stephanie White's recent update on Caitlin Clark's injury has sent shockwaves across the basketball world. Her somber tone and carefully chosen words hint at a situation that may be far more serious than anyone is ready to acknowledge.
Groin injury, and how much of an absence do you expect from her beyond today?
Yeah, late last night. I think it's very much a day-to-day thing, how she responds to treatment. I stay in my lane and let our strength and conditioning and our physical, our AT staff do what they do best. But yeah, I found out late last night, and then we'll treat it day to day.
Back-to-back a factor at all with that?
I mean, I don't know if it's a factor from a physical standpoint, from an athletic training standpoint. Certainly in my mind, it is. But at the same time, she's shown that she's tough and she's a quick healer. So
the troubling truth is becoming harder to deny. Caitlin Clark has been relentlessly targeted all season, and now the consequences have come crashing down. The league's brightest star is sidelined with an injury that feels less like a surprise and more like the inevitable result of neglect. Maybe no one saw it coming, or maybe they simply chose not to.
How much patience do I need to have before I can start going nuclear? Because I am getting very frustrated with what I am seeing. To everybody that said Caitlin Clark didn't look like herself, salute to you. For everybody that said Caitlin Clark might be going through something, salute to you. Clearly, you all saw what that person that stands there like this can't see. We all saw what was going on. Man, something's not right.
When Stephanie White stepped up to the podium to discuss Caitlin Clark's sudden groin injury, fans weren't met with the steady reassurance they craved. Instead, they saw a head coach who appeared genuinely blindsided, delivering uncertain, vague responses that only deepened the sense of unease and left more questions than answers.
Reported yesterday, like pain in the left groin.
it had to have been at some point during the day because they took her out yesterday, for the MRI. So I'm not exactly sure. I didn't hear about it until we heard from our training staff last night.
And with the MRI, did it show a strain or anything? Or
I don't. You'll have to.
Late last night, Stephanie White made a startling revelation when asked about the timeline of Caitlin Clark's injury. According to White, she wasn't informed until Wednesday evening, despite Clark having already experienced pain and undergone an MRI earlier that day. The delay was jarring. This wasn't the standard injury protocol fans have come to expect from a professional organization. It felt disjointed, reactive, and deeply uncharacteristic of a team tasked with protecting its franchise cornerstone.
And within rushing her back, she re-injured that same quad. And then you rushed her back again. And then within rushing her back, she was forced to put pressure and put stress on different areas surrounding that quad. That leads us to our most recent groin injury. I don't need a degree to think for myself. If you've ever been to the gym, you got some chest pain, next thing you know, you got some shoulder pain. Why? Because instead of using your chest muscle to do the exercises, you compensate and start using your shoulder to...
What made White's press conference even more unsettling was her repeated admission of being left out of the loop. "I'm not exactly sure. I didn't hear about it until our training staff contacted us last night," she admitted, a statement that painted a troubling picture of disconnect within the organization. For a coaching staff to be so uninformed about the condition of its most important player is not just unusual, it's alarming.
She's dealing with a lot herself, right? Stephanie White. Of course, she's missed, 2 games so far because of personal issues. So I don't necessarily know what her personal issues are. Hopefully it's nothing like DeWanna Bonner's. But nonetheless, she's dealing with some things of her own. So maybe it's a tad bit difficult to keep up with every single thing that happens with her players. And then, of course, she got this news late at night. So I don't know what time this could have been. It was posted early in the morning. So you know, she's probably just now getting into the facility and trying to figure out what's going on with Caitlin. Let me see the MRI. What happened with the MRI? They probably caught her right before she can get.
If you're enjoying this coverage, don't forget to subscribe. The situation surrounding Caitlin Clark's latest injury has taken a noticeably more troubling turn, especially when compared to how her previous quad injury was handled. Back then, head coach Stephanie White delivered transparent, detailed updates. She outlined a recovery timeline, explained the nature of the injury, and offered steady insight into Clark's status. It gave fans, media, and teammates a sense of clarity and control. This time, that transparency is missing. The current updates are vague, the tone uncertain, and the specifics absent. It's a stark contrast that suggests something less predictable, or perhaps far more serious, may be unfolding behind the scenes.
When she says you have to ask our training staff, are any of us really going to get the opportunity to actually talk to a training staff member? I don't think that actually is going to happen. So like what Stephanie White is doing right there is basically saying, I can't tell you, even if I could tell you, it's not going to be announced through me. It's going to be announced just how they announce everything else. They're going to announce it through a press conference. They're going to announce it through a press release, a tweet with the information. These organizations are very private, especially with, the injury information, because people...
Caitlin Clark's groin injury didn't come out of nowhere. It's the inevitable result of months of unchecked physical abuse and the WNBA's failure to step in. The timing makes it all the more alarming. Just days earlier, she endured a brutal outing against the Connecticut Sun, where she was poked in the eye by JCS Sheldon and blindsided by Marina Mabrey. Since returning from a quad injury on June 14th, Clark has been forced to play through what can only be described as a relentless gauntlet. Her performance has suffered dramatically. She's hit just one of her last 23 three-point attempts and has 6 points showing against Seattle, where she had more turnovers than points for the first time in her career. Now feels less like a cold streak and more like a flashing red warning sign everyone chose to ignore.
Not need to play another game until she's completely 100% healthy. If that means she has to miss multiple weeks, so be it, because you don't want to get into the habit of her rushing back from injuries when she's not fully healthy, and we know if one nagging injury can lead to another nagging injury. So the best thing that the Indiana Fever can do, regardless of what Caitlin Clark wants to do, you have to protect your star, your superstar, because she's going to want to get on the court. But until she's 100% healthy, she does not need to play another basketball game for the...
The numbers don't lie, and they paint a disturbing picture of how Caitlin Clark has been treated in the WNBA. According to official league data, 17% of all flagrant fouls this season have been committed against one player, Clark. Even more alarming, 80% of those have come from a single team. At that point, it's no longer coincidence, it's a pattern. The physical punishment has been relentless from the very start. From Kennedy Carter's blindside body check to the Chicago Sky's coordinated targeting, to the eye poke and violent shove against Connecticut, Clark has endured a level of aggression that would have ended careers in earlier eras. What makes this even more maddening is the league's refusal to deliver meaningful consequences. Marina Mabrey, who leveled Clark with a brutal body check after she had already been poked in the eye, walked away with nothing more than a technical foul, later upgraded to a flagrant. No suspension, no accountability, just a fine, and the green light to keep going after the WNBA's biggest draw.
Real talk, a lot of y'all records she coming for. She coming for him. At the end of the day, y'all can't stop nothing, bro. Y'all trying to beat her up and bruise her up and take her out the game and injure her, bro. We know what the motive is, dog. Like, don't nobody like that. I don't vouch for that. I don't like that. You hear me? Y'all not leading. Look, y'all need to get that out y'all heart. Cause that's some deep demonic stuff. The way y'all thinking and how y'all moving and having y'all little meetings and all of that and wanna plot against this woman and her teammates that have her back. Y'all better leave her, Sophie.
The backlash from Caitlin Clark's fanbase has been immediate and ruthless. Social media is ablaze with calls for her to walk away from the WNBA altogether. Many argue the league doesn't deserve her, and maybe never did. One frustrated fan captured the mood perfectly. If Caitlin Clark decides to leave the WNBA and go play in Europe, I wouldn't blame her. I'd cheer her on. Let the league sink if that's what it takes. It's a sentiment echoed by thousands who've watched their favorite player endure relentless abuse with little to no protection. The numbers back it up. Earlier this season, when Clark missed time due to injury, national TV ratings for WNBA games plummeted by 55%, from 1.81 million viewers to just 847,000. Ticket prices for Fever games nosedived by 47%. And while Clark has been hit with technicals simply for reacting to blatant assaults, her aggressors have escaped with little more than slaps on the wrist. The message from the league is as clear as it is damning. Veteran egos are being protected, but the league's biggest star is not.